Articulation. What does it mean to you? For me, articulation means to share about a piece of artwork, an artwork that has resonated with me, and a piece of artwork that has a message that can potentially change the world for the better. So, what is that artwork? Well, the artwork is called Untitled, from the series Singapore by Nguan, created in 2013. So before I go on and talk about the artwork, we need to first talk about Nguan himself. Well, he's actually a film photographer. Who here actually know what film photography is and have actually tried film photography before? So unlike those of you who have actually raised up your hands, I don't really know much about film photography prior to my research. In fact, it was actually after my research that got me interested into film photography. While I found out what I liked, Nguan, on the other hand, found out what he didn't like. So he actually studied film and movies at Northwestern University. However, he hated it. And after graduating in 1998, he decided to take film photography seriously. So by now, you could have noticed that there is no picture of him. Why is that so? Well, because he prefers anonymity. Like myself, in fact. The fact that I'm standing here makes me really, really nervous. But yet, here I am, representing my school. While it might be very nerve-wracking for me to present in front of all of you, it feels a bit like a dream, being able to present in the finals. Just like how one tries to portray the honest yet dreamlike state of Singapore. Next, I will talk about his style of photography. One naturally prefers a more natural style of photography. Unlike other photographers who take their time when capturing their subjects, one clicks the shutter immediately without any hesitation once he sees his subjects. His carefreeness towards photography really intrigues me because I am not such a carefree person. In fact, I require a lot of rehearsals just to be able to stand here and present confidently. Something that intrigued me as well was his ability to contest the stability of Singapore. I feel that the people and buildings in Singapore are pretty plain and boring. However, his ability to bring in colors into an often perceived monotonous society really intrigues me, and it forces me to think differently about Singapore. So now that I've talked about Nguan himself, I can finally get to the photograph. If I'm going to be completely honest, it looks like a pretty normal photograph. I mean, all it does is just show a bunch of people sitting inside a bus, right? But that's what I love about this photograph. Because you do not need to be flashy or super unique to create something beautiful and special. You see, just with this one simple photograph, one was able to show the honest, the rawness, and the honesty of our society, capturing a slice of our lives in the process. If you actually take a closer look at the photograph, you see that most of the people inside the bus is actually using their phones, either calling someone or just listening to music. And this shows that despite being outside physically, we're still stuck, isolated, and alienated from the outside world, all because of our phones. I really appreciate the fact that one brings this issue up with this photograph, because it reminds us that we have to appreciate the life and the people around us. this issue can actually be brought out with a graph and, well, global statistics. Actually, if you take a look closely, you see that more than 50% of teenagers actually admit that they spend too much time on their phones and that it serves as a distraction for them. Not only that, but almost 50% of parents believe their kids are actually addicted to their phones. And almost 30% of teenagers risk depression when they spend too much time on social media. And just to give you a bit of context, there are more than 5 billion smartphone users around this world. And this makes these numbers even more scary. However, one was somehow able, despite this being such, well, I should say, a very scary topic, managed to bring up some happiness with the use of pastel tones. Pastel tones and colors like pink, peach, and lilac naturally have an uplifting mood. The brighter the color is, the happier we naturally are. Not only that, but the pastel tones also bring out the aesthetic of a film camera. Something that I personally really like, and it's also one of the reasons why I chose this artwork. Not only that, but with the use of pastel tones, he was able to bring out and show the honest yet dreamlike state of Singapore. And that is something that one is trying to achieve. Next is the process of creating the artwork. Some people, well, I should say that there is an ongoing argument as to whether is it the process that matters the most or the product. For me, it's the process that matters the most. You see, the process cultivates a person. It teaches them to be tenacious, teaches them to be passionate, and it teaches them to be a responsible person. In fact, these are the three attributes that I try to instill upon myself. Finally, Nguan noticing the unnoticed. With his ability to do that, he made me reflect upon myself. He made me ponder whether, am I just like the people inside this photograph, stuck in my own world because of my phones? He made me wonder as to whether, how can I de-isolate myself and be a positive source of support for my friends and family? And he made me think whether, are there people who are left out in our society, who are marginalized, and how we can bring them in? Before I end, I would like to leave you with a quote by Socrates. Wonder is the beginning of wisdom. Through this research endeavor, I have learned more about myself, and I've reflected myself deeply. And at the same time, I hope that through my presentation, you begin to wonder whether, are you just like the people inside this photograph, stuck in your own world because of your phones? Hope you begin to ponder and wonder whether, do you notice the unnoticed, the marginalized? If the answers are yes, how can you start to make that change today? My name is Ryan Lee from Jing Secondary School, and I hope you have enjoyed this presentation and I gave something from it. Thank you.